Now at 5 o'clock, things are winding down. This year's legislative session ends Wednesday at midnight. Today, a much talked about bill to limit ICE activities was signed into law.
But there are still right now some very important last-minute bills to be voted on, including a controversial one on homeschooling. Your chief political reporter, Susan Raff, live right now at the state capitol tonight, where it could really be a long night tonight. Susan?
That's exactly what we're expecting. In fact, this is the home stretch, but we still need a vote on homeschooling. The House has passed it, and now it's in the Senate tonight, where we are expecting somewhat of a fight. Now, the ICE bill has been signed into law, and that also faces somewhat of a challenge.
Government. We should not be afraid of our own government and what they will do to us.
Democratic leaders and Governor Lamont gathered on the steps of the Connecticut Supreme Court. They're taking action against ICE after what's been happening across the country and here in Connecticut, where high school students in a few communities have been taken into custody.
This wing will bring great relief to immigrants and all working class people in Connecticut, and it proves that Connecticut has the power to defend the people.
Governor Lamont has now signed the bill, but its future is uncertain. Federal law supersedes state law in most cases.
This law may be challenged, and when it is, if it is, I will be waiting, and Connecticut will win.
The bill restricts ICE from entering places of worship, schools and hospitals, and allows legal recourse if someone feels their civil rights are being violated. Republicans feel the bill goes too far.
It was obviously an attempt to regulate ICE, but it's actually an attempt to regulate law enforcement under the guise of controlling ICE activity.
Another contentious bill deals with homeschooling. This has made it through the House, but is expected to be voted on Monday night. Currently, there are no laws in Connecticut if a parent chooses to withdraw their child. After a few tragic cases, Democrats feel there needs to be more oversight. Republicans feel DCF is the issue, not homeschooling parents.
The state has a responsibility to protect children. In other words, it is not only the parents who have a responsibility for those children.
And is nothing more than a targeted effort against a bunch of people, for the most part, 99.9%, do nothing more than love their children and educate their children properly.
The homeschooling legislation that lawmakers are taking up tonight does require background checks, and it also requires homeschooling parents to fill out an annual registration form. We are expecting a long debate here in the House simply for the fact that Republicans plan to propose many amendments. But the bill is expected to pass in a long night, and the legislative session is over on Wednesday at midnight. Your chief political reporter, Susan Raff, Channel 3 Eyewitness News at the state capitol.
Okay.